I tried to beat every single map in Roblox Tower Defense Simulator, which is a bit tough because if you don't know, TDS has this many maps, exactly 60, and considering games can take between 15 and 25 minutes each, yeah, this one was brutal. The first game here was on Sky Islands, with a full squadron of people. For every single one of these games, I used the automatic matchmaking system to play with totally random people. I felt like doing this solo would be a lot less entertaining, plus I suck at solo fallen. In comparison to what would come later, everyone in this first game was pretty reserved, capybara, and we cruised through the match easily, as this map was one of the most basic, with no extra lanes or limited space or anything. Next, I tried to play a game on Crossroads. This was funny in a miserable kind of way. First of all, it took me, literally no exaggeration, 10 minutes and 42 seconds to load into the game. There was only one highlight during this run. Our third teammate, PlayRoblox_games, said he had a YouTube channel, so I had to check him out and drop a sub. Okay, so I did check his channel afterwards and didn't see the match, so I pretty much forgot about it until I went back to edit the script, where I found that he had actually posted a YouTube short about our game. As the short's title would suggest, we easily took down the Fallen King on this map. Game 3 was on Honey Valley, which is one of, if not the single easiest map in the game. This player, Billy, fittingly enough, brought the Bee Swarmer Tower, which gave the Fallen King some funny animations as we took him down. The next map was Toyboard, a staple of TDS and a map that's always been considered kind of free, as is Fungi Island, one of the most atmospheric maps, but least challenging. Crystal Caves was the first map where I fell victim to matchmaking, as half the team didn't join, and me and Foxery had to go for the duo win. This guy had some pretty rare stuff, such as the Frost Blaster Tower and the Gargoyle Commander skin. Always fun to see older units like that. So, combined with my engineer, okay, so I haven't really talked about my towers yet. Basically, I started off this challenge swapping around my loadouts a lot, just messing around with weird towers. But towards the end of the challenge, I really focused on engineer and accelerator, the two strongest towers necessary for harder maps. And it was with those towers that me and Foxery melted the boss. I tried to repeat that success on another duo game on Portland, where again, half my team left. However, my teammate here, FYJGug8, placed exactly 2 farms, upgraded them both to level 1, and went to stand by this dumpster, where he spent the next 12 minutes AFK, and then disconnected. I tried sending him a friend request to tell him to join back, and I saw he was already in another game. So I lost that match, and had to come back much later to beat Portland officially, where things went a little bit smoother with a full team. After that, I breezed through a few more maps, clearing Grass Isles, the most tryhard of tryhard maps, U-Turn, this map is actually multiple U-turns, and the Atlas Coliseum, one of my favorite maps design-wise. Then comes Meltdown. We actually came kinda close to losing here, it wasn't going very well. And there was this player, Kazhui, who I believe was Russian, and he started saying some interesting stuff. Video of my favorite song, okay? Check 3. Don't have any questions. About to start. At first, I thought this guy's English might have just been a bit rough, but then later I said, I don't understand what you're saying. He said, XD same. So I think he was doing a little bit of trolling. We continued our conversation throughout the late game. Check 99. Where do I find 99? Same thing, I can see you all the time to be in my. What 9999? So I said, I only have 8731, just a random number. And he said, I'm sorry. With a lot of gravity I thought, this was very serious. We defeated the Fallen King, but he didn't speak for the rest of the game. The next map was Forest Camp. I always think this one is Army Camp, I haven't named the file that. But even the reworked version of this map is still pretty easy. Next, we've got to tackle the elephant in the room, the dual lane maps. These are typically classified as insane difficulty and are much harder than normal maps, since there are 2 zombies now. The first of these I tackled was Winter Stronghold, and my first 2 attempts didn't go very well, but I was hoping this third run would be victorious. A thing I noticed with this map is everyone always defends this side, and then the northeast end just has nothing, which might have been partially because our 4th teammate, Oxydry, just wasn't there. I mean, he was in the lobby, but his character was nowhere to be seen, and he certainly wasn't placing anything. So we just had to hope he would appear at some point. We took some damage from hidden, and the fallen zombies pushed this far along the path. The only upside here was that placement ranges could overlap both paths at once, if done right, which is how we survived those waves. I looked desperately for Oxydry, and actually did find him, hidden under the snowbank here, but he was still unresponsive. We reached wave 30, a wave where this dumb tank zombie always spawns with a lot of health. And here, he was multiplied. We took down tank number 2, but I overestimated the power of the other path, and tank 1 got pretty close there. The run was obviously chalked, unless Oxydry returned. At this point, he had now been AFK for almost 30 minutes, and had $100,000 of spending money. Wave 31, nothing. Wave 32, nothing. Wave 33, still AFK. 34, 35, 36, he still just was not there. Until he was, as he came back in wave 37 and began to place his first towers, saving the run with a second DJ for the north path and a bunch of DPS towers, giving us a massive late game boost, pumping up our DPS, killing the Fallen King, a game for the ages. Next, I returned to some single lane maps. This Sacred Mountain game was looking to be a bit of a disaster. As Billy pointed out here, it was a bit of a weird film choice. Map choice. This guy's autocorrect went crazy. With one teammate Ghost and the other AFK again, 10 waves in I say, we might have to duo this. And Billy's like, yeah maybe. Only for Jack to come alive. Nope. So with all three of us working together, this map was a cakewalk. 2 back-to-back AFK player clutches. Crazy. I then hopped on a dual lane map, Musake's Kingdom. I think this is a rare occasion where the grandeur of the map itself outshines the difficulty, as this was a dual lane map, but the paths don't remain split for very long, and even with 2x zombies, we had a ton of splash damage towers to counter them. And since, even with multipliers, only one of the final boss spawns, it wasn't too bad. Next, I knocked out another dual lane map in Space City, except this is actually only a single lane map, because it's a legacy arena which hasn't yet been updated to fit the new modifier system. So although there's 2 paths, only the regular amount of zombies spawn, split evenly between them. This was also the case with a few other dual lane maps, and each time it substantially lowered the difficulty. Next, I played a duo game on farmlands, where a third teammate, Top G, left early on. Probably a good thing. Me and this player, Centauro, easily got the win. Spring Fever was another quick map, featuring a very long path and no extra gimmicks, as was Winter Bridges, which partially shares the name with Winter Abyss. I always confuse these two maps. Anyways, we got that win, and moved on to another insane difficulty map, Mason Arch, a legitimate dual path. Now strategy was kind of important here, and I really focused on gladiators, as they could tuck nicely into these little pockets here, and use piercing damage against the hordes. My teammate Stabile was chillin'. He asked me if I had this old gladiator skin. I do, big flex. And with our towers standing on these very unsafe wooden outcroppings, we pushed through the early game. It was all going very well, until Stabile asked me to upgrade DJ, mid me upgrading that DJ. So I was like, wow, I really read your mind there. And he left, leaving the 3 of us to fight the 2x tanks in wave 30. Now Stabile did join back fairly quickly, but there's a problem. He was experiencing a glitch where your towers don't load in and you can't do anything. I've actually encountered this bug a lot, even during this challenge, and it's quite frustrating. Me and Sadder suggested he try rejoining again, and he left to do that, but pushing wave 40, when he joined back for the second time, he still couldn't do anything, turning a surefire win into a bit more of a challenge. As the Fallen King pushed past the bulk for a central defense, I started to panic sell and move towers. He reached the final intersection, and we narrowly averted catastrophe. So after that, I decided to try to knock out another dual lane map, this one being the Black Spot Exchange, a unique pirate themed map where the zombies have intertwining spawn points. My teammates here were super high level, probably the most experienced team of this whole thing. By late game we were looking like this. In the end, it was a pretty easy win. For map 22, I played the duo game on Happy Home over Bloxia. My teammate Hack Era had the most OG tower in TDS, the Commando, even sporting the pirate skin. Always fun to see, even if not instrumental in their victory. Tropical Isles, meanwhile, was a whole different story. Matthias asked for a shoutout for his cat Rebel, shoutout Rebel, and that conversation sparked AF1 to speak up. This dude was interesting. He claimed to be a specific music artist, which he definitely was not, and in response to my questions he said, "Have you met me IRL? No. So how exactly can you know?" I mean, that's irrefutable evidence right there. We went back and forth for a while. He kept repeating that he really was this artist. I knew this guy was trolling, but I was low-key like, this is some good content. Eventually, I asked if he knew the lyrics to his own supposed song, and he was like, "What? I didn't make that. This guy did." And then he typed out something mildly inappropriate. Finally, I was just fed up with this guy, so I said, "I'm blocking you," and then I blocked him. I was more preoccupied with that conversation here than the actual gameplay, but the map itself was fairly generous space-wise, and we got a dub. Next, I moved on to Harbor, a top 5 all-timer. However, Death's and I teammate here, Boys DT2, was acting a bit strange. First of all, he pretty much just stood still for the vast majority of the game, doing nothing. He jumped a bunch on wave 7, stood in that same spot for like 5 more minutes, jumped a bunch again, and then appeared to go completely AFK, until randomly in wave 26, while me and Death were defending, I noticed some military base trucks, which was weird because neither of us had the tower. So I checked, and sure enough, Boys DT had placed 2 level 0 military bases, and then ran off the map, which I thought was a pretty big play there. On wave 39, after saying absolutely nothing for the whole game, he sent a single chat message, typing out the letters G and G, even placing 1 more military base directly under where he stood. And all I could tell him was the truth there. He did great work. So in case you're wondering what's happening here, this isn't just some guy being a bit strange. This is actually an AFK farmer. He was never a real player the whole time he was a program, inputting random movements to not disconnect. So in the final wave, as we're battling the Fallen King, I guess in an effort to make the bot look realistic, it started running around the map in these very human bursts, until coming to a stop for the final time by the south shed, where he would remain after we won the game, and as far as I know, where he remains in place to this day. A true legend. So after all the excitement of those games, I was like, wow, this video needs some more boring maps to crunch through. First up, the Heights. This map was surprisingly hard, as there's very little placement space, but the overall length kinda makes up for that. A trait shared with Deserted Village, a naturally very long and spacious map. The funniest thing here was that this guy, Dark, literally only had 2 towers equipped, which is such a bad strategy, it kinda wraps around to being genius. I mean, it took down the boss easily, so simplicity. I didn't really have anything to say about this match. My teammates were cool. Easy win. Next, I decided to try Infernal Abyss, as I knew it was a dual lane map, but it struck me as one of the easier ones. However, upon joining, I realized, oh yeah, this is a tri-lane map now, with 3 times the amount of zombies. What was your adversary thinking? In a way though, it was good training for a future map, the most difficult in the game, because although there were tons of zombies, there was also a lot of space and clear visibility. I mentioned this all for a reason, there's some big foreshadowing. The early game was definitely the hardest part, as the power curve for this map looks a bit like this. We almost lost here in wave 18 as this many breakers spawned, but thanks to Red Soda placing an emergency accelerator, we survived. I focused on the mortar tower here, which is my secret tech for every hard map. It just works. I was worried for the triple tanks on wave 30, but they turned out to be little challenge. And by the late game, we had a fairly established structure. Just look at the Fallen King's HP bar here. It's like something you'd see in a satisfying video compilation. I also think it's kind of funny that you earn an extra 70 coins for beating this map. The devs are saying this is only 10% harder than like Crossroads. So from one hard map to the next, I got into lay-by, where the challenge is inverse in nature. There's only one path, but it's a very, very straight route. Weirdly, the only really scary zombie on this map was the tank. Like literally everything else went down easily, but for some reason the tanks kept scaring me like this. I mean, it even did better than Final Boss, as the Fallen King died only halfway across the map. Next, Gilded Path. This map was weirdly hard. Like, it is a dual lane, but it's a legacy map, so it's only half the amount of zombies. Yet somehow, I still ended up failing multiple times on this map. And when I finally got into a winning lobby, I had to leave. So I left my computer running and placed faith in my teammates to close it out. Where on the final wave, something kind of insane happened. Okay, so the Fallen King is over here. He's taking a lot of damage, he's about to die. Except way at the back of the path, there's these fallen minion zombies about to kill us. So my teammate Ura places a ranger. It does not kill the zombie. He places another ranger, and it kills the zombie quite literally on the goal line. A difference of seconds. So now the Fallen King's dead back over here, but it takes a few more seconds for the game to officially end, and we can still technically lose, as this zombie here has too much health to die to the rangers, and as it's about to kill us, the victory screen pops up, and all the zombies vanish. Insane clutch from Ura and my team as a whole. One of my other teammates, Juno, was pretty hyped. He said, "No way," while Sabrina said, "No, there's 2 ways." That's cold, honestly. Next, the_MC and I duoed Tropical Industries. I then hopped onto Marshlands, one of the most depressing maps honestly. I was with Paw Patrol and Strong Spider-Man, who was dressed as Goku apparently, so needless to say we easily won that. And continuing the trend of easy maps, Necropolis, which was also strange because I randomly encountered this player, Mikasa, who I had also played with on the Heights map earlier. A pretty rare encounter and a pretty easy win. Next, Autumn Falling, not a lot to talk about here, my teammates' ace pods were OP. Next though, this game on Dusty Bridges got a bit out of hand. I was playing with Keyboard Smashed username and Low End, whose loadouts were respectively not that great. So I knew I really had to commit to accelerators to carry the DPS. To make matters worse, Low End left as wave 15 began, making the rest of the game a bit of a slog. I got my last accelerator maxed out just in time for the Fallen King, and started upgrading mortars I had placed earlier as we head into the final wave. Low End, who at this point had been gone for 19 minutes and 14 seconds, just now joined back to witness the final boss. Little side note though, he didn't actually do anything. He had the ace pilot, he just didn't place it. He might have been experiencing the same glitch as Label did on Mason Arch, or maybe he was just ballin'. So the boss got past the brunt of our towers, and I started moving everything. DJ first, then accelerators, then mortars. QTRC was like, will you accept my friend request if we win? And I was like, help, move tower. He got an ace pilot, I sold an excel and moved it closer, then got another fresh one, and at this point I was out of money. Friendly tanks kept spawning, the boss used its stunning ability, it only had 5000 HP left, and we clutched up, barely securing that win and saving me 30 minutes worth of time. Next, I hopped on Icefield, one of the easier maps I'd just been putting off. I then slow ran Moonbase, which deserves a mention for just how broken it is. You can place ground towers on cliff spots. There's literally only this one space for cliff towers. The zombies have space helmets, which isn't a bug, it's just funny. I'll be sad when this map is remade. It's very janky in a good way. One map I wouldn't mind a remake of though is Infernal Abyss. It's just a very dull, lifeless map, and with poor placement spaces to bat, we ended up having to move towers to get the win. Stain Temple is one of the best looking maps in the game, and my team here actually included this guy, Epic, playing in virtual reality. So he had like a big head outline thing above his avatar. I said hi, and asked if TDS is good in VR, to which he responded, the way the hands move is just so goofy. Our fourth teammate was up in space throughout this whole entire game. He placed towers but never came down, and Epic himself elevated a bit as well, placing some mortars on his high floating island. Really looks like he's commanding the towers. And that authority led us to a win. Next, Cyber City. I messed around with my loadout a bit here and things worked out well. This match turned out to be the 400th career win on the propellers count overall. Go me. Rocket Arena is one of the easiest maps in the game, and one of the few with in-universe advertisements. So we killed the Fallen block smart. Low quality, high prices, always. One came pretty quickly, you know the path loops around here. Dead ahead. This map has a reputation as being very difficult, but honestly it wasn't that bad. I was paired with two essentially complete beginners, along with one semi-experienced player, and we still managed to hold our own on this map, easily losing to the Fallen King with 13,000 health. But with a bit more of an experienced team, we did actually win. Forgotten Docks. I forgot about this map. Nothing much happened here. Me and Nuclear Void then lost half our team, but still successfully duoed Cataclysm. 4 seasons, easy map, winter best season. Then though, there's a very interesting map. Out of the 60 I played through, the vast majority appear in this matchmaking map vote menu thing. In fact, 58 of them do. Only 2 of the older legacy maps do not, meaning I had to wait for in-lobby elevators to randomly choose them. The first of these was Construction Crazy. When I asked my Roblox group all which map they thought was the worst, this one was a unanimous winner. Construction Crazy is utterly trash. I hate Construction Crazy. Bro, worst map, definitely Construction Crazy. It's so bad, it's not even funny. And on and on. The main problem with this map is that it has very limited placement space, which made this map very challenging when it was first released in like 2020. But in current year, current meta, Accelerator's range is big enough to easily cover the whole map, even from weird spots, and towers like Pursue or Elf Camp help a ton. I wanted to do a longer segment on this map, but there's just not a lot to it. Like, as long as your teammate doesn't leave on the final wave or something, you're good. You can even do fun stuff like preview towers on top of this massive crane. And reaching the final wave, one of my teammates left. But we still won, in just under 21 minutes. Beat Chessboard, I'm more of a checkers player myself. Beat Nether, a classic map, not too challenging. Beat Night Station, a map that's been in the game for a surprisingly long time and I don't think I'd ever played before. Beat Medieval Times in a duo. Beat Abandoned City, where my teammate Baby was using Pyromancer, and my teammate Metavoid Gamer was also using Pyromancer, and I was also using the Golden Pyromancer. So with that strong firepower all around, we incinerated the Fallen King. I beat Retro Zone in the quad op. I beat Candy Valley, the last of the dual lane maps, which also happened to not actually have 2x zombies. Beat Ruby Escort, despite my team being ill-equipped with challenge loadouts. Beat Area 52 with a completely new teammate. Beat Game 61, Heavenly Islands or something, is what I titled the file of this match on the heavens. Somehow I had neglected Wrecked Battlefield up to this point, another top 10 easiest map in the game. After playing with Epic in Stained Temple earlier, I also ran into another VR player here, named VR Player. He was cosplaying as a DJ tower and was very animated. He patted me on the head here, which was funny, and then he started doing some push-ups mid-game, which I thought was a pretty big flex, until during the final wave of this match, he just started hitting some crazy dance moves, which I had to assume really demotivated the boss here. He went down easily. Enchanted Forest was surprisingly hard. For one thing, it's dual lane. Wait, didn't I already say Candy Valley was the last dual lane? I think I made a mistake in the script there. The watery environment and isolated platforms make it a lot harder to bunch up your defense. However, as I came to discover with all of the bi or tri-lane paths, the early game, waves 0 to 20, was harder than the late game. There's this immediate power jump, and you have very limited resources, whereas later on, you're at least making 3 times as much money and you can upgrade more towers. In this match, our early defense consisted of Hunter. If you don't know, this guy kinda sucks. And Gold Pyromancer. Somehow we survived that, and with good teamwork all around, did manage to win, leaving just 2 more little maps. Now surely I left the easiest for last, right? Well, I actually kinda did with one of them, Abyssal Trench. This is the partner map to Construction Crazy, in that it too is unselectable in the map voting station, and you need to wait around for a specific elevator. I believe this is due to the map's age, which also shows in the path design, as it's fairly basic. The one thing I found interesting here is the dolphin animation. Regularly, you can just see it jump out of the water before diving back underground. With my free cam permissions though, I was able to check underneath the map to see that, yeah, it really is just the model being constantly 3D rotated. Kinda cool. This map gives all the zombies scuba gear, but it doesn't buff them in any way. The Fallen King just looks kinda goofy to be honest. So after that win, after everything, after 2 weeks of playing and 59 victories, there was just one map left. What could be? Did I forget Grass Isles? Did I forget Crossroads? Nope, it's Derelict Outpost. First of all, even playing this map was a challenge. Like in this match, where for some reason it just didn't show up in the voting station, or this match, where one of my teammates left almost immediately, which obviously I can't complain about because I did that a lot, but it did require another reset. I lost like 3 or 4 attempts on this map, almost all of them losing to the breakers in wave 18. These guys are annoying normally, but when there's 3 times the amount of them, bleh. Which leads into this game. My teammates here were Nomafix, Chains, and Mada. Now for most other attempts, I'd helped defend early and trusted their fourth to farm for DPS, and that never worked. So this time, I bag chased and focused on farm. Chains used the gladiators early, which had piercing damage, essential to clear out the hordes quickly, while Noma and Mada placed Cowboy and Crook Boss to help. My farming got me enough cash for an accelerator, needed to survive the wave 10 bosses and hiddens, which are kinda hard to see there, because this map nerfs you in yet another way. There's this fog effect all around, limiting your view. Actually, it's not really fog at all, it's just pure black void. You literally cannot see the whole map at one time. Going back to the earlier losses to the breakers, instead of being a moron like usual and continuing to use the golden pyromancer, I had swapped it out for mortar, which was definitely the right play here, as that splash damage was crucial. Even so, things weren't looking so good here, as we took a lot of damage from fallen zombies. We were pressed all the way back, so I stopped being greedy and farming and just went all in on DPS, which proved to be the right approach. And as we neared wave 30, our team found a bit more stability. With the tanks incoming though, something was obvious. The leftmost path was doing very good. It fell under shared tower range with the middle path, optimizing our placements. The right path, however, yeah, we had 2 accelerators. That is all you get. The mid tank died easily, the left tank survived but on very low health, while the right tank was pretty much untouched, and it was only thanks to our backups that we survived. This is where I asked Mada, hey man, can you place a DJ here on the right path? Yet he just kinda didn't do that. He appears to be looking at the trees. Nature, so beautiful. So I resigned myself to no range buff or discount and placed a few more towers. By now Momentified swung to us heavily, and it looked like we would make the final wave. The only question being, where would the Fallen King spawn? If it was middle or left path, then great, we would probably win. However, if he spawned on the right path, we were going to be in some serious trouble. We beefed up the right path as much as we could, which still wasn't very much, and waited for the wave timer to swap from 39 to 40. And with a horde of fallen guards pouring out, we all waited anxiously, and he spawned on the left path. And as the right path struggled to even kill the minions, our massive accelerators and engineers chewed through the boss, taking him out. We beat the map, claiming the 962 coins. Honestly, not bad. With that victory, I had now officially completed every single map in TDS, including all the losses and daily login rewards, etc. I earned 48,473 coins, of which I spent 10,500 in pirate crates. I gained 16 levels, going up to 257. Finally, counting only the time spent on each winning attempt, disregarding loading times and failed attempts and internet issues, beating every single map took a combined in-game total of 21.5 hours. So yeah, please subscribe if you aren't, leave a like, leave a comment, join the group. Yeah. Would I recommend this challenge? No.